We got some news around AEW Fight Forever, and a top team is not going to be in the game. Let's get into the news for you right now. The AEW Fight Forever video game, the console game, is scheduled to come out sometime either next year, early next year, or it's going to be this fall. AEW has not yet confirmed. But we did find out, according to Fightful Select, a prominent, huge tag team is not going to make it in the game despite being there for a while in AEW. And frankly, it's just kind of surprising, isn't it? This is coming over from Fightful Select. Fightful Select was able to confirm that Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler are not slated to be part of the first version of the AEW Fight Forever game as of this moment. Sources connected to the game that we heard from wouldn't confirm how far into the game FTR were still included, but Fightful first gained word earlier this summer. It was stated that they at least made it to the quote model phase of the game. However, we're told that FTR were informed of the call and weren't too happy about it, as being involved in video games usually also comes with a significant bonus. We're told that they were originally set to be included in the game, but by spring of 2022 had been removed. Fightful spoke to Kenny Omega about the game in June, who noted they were hoping to release the game in 2022. So this is a very odd thing, isn't it? You have FTR, who are presumably, their models are done for the video game. They have been with AEW for a couple of years now, and yet the top tag team, arguably the best tag team of the year in wrestling this year, is not going to be in your video game. So I need to know your thoughts. What do you think about FTR not making it into the game at launch? I'm very surprised by this because we know that CM Punk is going to be in the game, for example. The man is on the cover. It seems very strange that FTR wouldn't be scanned and ready to go, but CM Punk is. And based on the report from Fightful, it sounds like they were ready to go in the game, and yet they were pulled out of the game. It seems very bizarre. I can't imagine any reason for them to yank them out of the game for its early release. They're a huge team that you should be able to showcase. If they want to put them out as future DLC, I get that, but at the same time, you have so many newer AEW stars that will make it in or could make it in as DLC in the near future. So I wonder if it's a matter of they couldn't get the scans fully done and completed in time for the game's release and get things polished. They had to make certain cuts because they could only get so many people on the roster in the game at the time. Maybe it was just coming down to the crunch for when they got their models scanned and then it just took too long. But it seems very odd if they were going to be removed from it, and we have to wait and see if they're going to be in the game altogether. And I go back and say it's odd because of CM Punk, for example, knowing he is in the video game and FTR is not, and FTR was there first, frankly. So not to be able to get matchups like the Young Bucks versus FTR in the game is very disappointing. I fully assumed they were in the game. I mean, we can go back to when they first came in and they were with MJF and they did the Pinnacle thing. It's been a while that they've been with AEW. That final roster, what it will look like, I think is going to be very interesting because we know when certain stars came into the company, like Aleister Black, Keith Lee, Punk, Bryan, Cole. Certain stars came in much later, like an Adam Cole, who we know for sure is in the game, and yet FTR is not. To me, that kind of sounds like they're picking and choosing who they want to beef up the roster with. They get these giant name talents like an Adam Cole and a CM Punk, and they want to make sure that they're going to make it into the video game. I totally understand that, but that doesn't excuse the fact that, like, why wouldn't you put in the tag champs? I wonder too if is it anything to do with their contract status around the time of the game development and say early spring. They weren't sure if FTR was going to resign or not, and maybe at that point they just said we're going to can them from being in the initial launch of the video game. But as Fightful reports here too, it's a missed opportunity and it's missed revenue for FTR too. Wrestlers make money when they're going to be scanned and put into the video game. So they may be DLC. I'm optimistic that with Fight Forever, it sounds like based off of the Gamescom interview that they sat down with the dev, that they're going to be releasing future content after the game is released. And that keeps me hopeful because I honestly think that the game can do well if the roster is good and the gameplay is solid. They can add to it, and if this is the direction they want to do with the game, they could patch it and update it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and not do an annual release. And frankly, I'd rather see that if the engine is good and everything is solid. Just keep adding more content, add more wrestlers, get FTR in there like a month or two after launch. But we haven't heard anything about DLC, what the extra content will look like, pricing, anything like that. And when we look at like 2K, they've been doing it for so long that they know roughly what the roadmap is going to be for the entire duration of the game. From the DLC to the day one launch bonuses, all the different packs and the stars in the packs. And I feel like with Fight Forever, we're not hearing that, and that little piece has me worried, but let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this episode, click right here because I've got more AEW Fight Forever coverage for you. I'll see you over there on the next episode. Bye.